And I look, and there's a naked man running from a 10-foot. The only way I can describe it was a praying mantis.
Welcome back to Olympic Strange Days. Here we go again. Today we're talking to our guest, Mary Bethune, who we got to go meet somehow, some way away from this winter wonderland. Surprise! It's almost Valentine's 2025, and we just got hammered here. I'm talking to you not too far from my zip code in a place called the Blue Mountains. Lovely name. Of course, they are the White Mountains today, and we're at the what appears to be historic pioneer cemetery of Blue Mountain Ridge, and it's an appropriate place to talk about the non-living, the spirit realm. As I said, our guest is Mary Bethune. She is one of the co-founders of the Olympic Peninsula Paranormal Society, or O.P.P.S. They operate all around the Olympic Peninsula here. And we're going to meet her in this very quirky, hidden little town, just a dot on the map out here, known as Port Gamble. A lot of Port Townsend, Port Orchard, Port Gamble, Port Angeles. But Port Gamble in particular is a city that is operated by private funding. It's like a privately funded, privately owned town with these amazing Victorian homes dotted all along the bay. So we're going to meet Mary Bethune there. She's very familiar in a way I'm not with Port Gamble. And we're going to talk to her about one Victorian house in particular that she's very familiar with, and I'm somewhat familiar with. A place called the Walker-Ames house. It is a 4-story, I believe, maybe 5-story Victorian multicolored haunted house. So haunted that I even went there. I had my own experience there, you could say. And we'll talk more about that on camera and talk about some of her overall experience and what her point of view is as a paranormal investigator, also a retired nurse, probably has had experiences with those who have passed on intimately in her work, and now as this full-time, I don't know, I guess you'd call it a hobby, looking into paranormal research, just exactly what Mary's point of view is on the nature of the soul and what happens and who she's actually talking to. I'm standing outside what could be a very perfect haunt itself. This historic building here, the Blue Mountain School. I think it's a snow day. It's been a snow day probably since the 1950s. Of course, you never know. There might be one student in here still laboring away. Huh. So, if we can get down to some clean roads and make this happen, then that's our mission. Mary Bethune. Should be a lot of fun. Oh, by the way, she has an incredible story here. One that's seemingly way off base from paranormal research and ghostly apparitions and EVPs. Something that has to do with a praying mantis. We're going to question her on her experience with the Mantid. All right. Okay, so we're here in this beautiful Walker-Ames. We call this a mansion? I call this a mansion.
It is in town. Yeah. We call it a house, but
my little cul-de-sac calls this a mansion. I mean, look at
beautiful.
Mary. Look at this view.
I know, I love it.
When is Pete going to sell this place to you? So explain to everybody how you're associated with this house. Give us the Cliff Notes version that you want to.
I'm associated with the Walker-Ames house because I work for the company that owns the town of Port Gamble. And it's one of the last company-owned towns. And so by day, I'm the town manager. It's like being the mayor here. And by night, I do the ghost tours and paranormal investigations. So that's my association with the house. I'm just in charge of maintenance and upkeep of the town. And then at night, you get to go around and see what goes bump in the night.
Okay, but beyond that, you're also the town psychic. So tell a little bit about yourself. Even though some of the people here got to know you at Strange Days at the bar,
Yeah.
This has got a bigger audience.
Yeah, so I didn't know I was a psychic before when I started here. Definitely, I was a skeptic of psychics and mediums. In this house and many other places around Port Gamble and in Oregon showed me that I am a medium. And so I've been doing that for about the last 12 years. And this house has been just such a great training ground for that sort of thing, and being able to sharpen skills and of course meet other people, like-minded people. So I wouldn't say I'm the town medium, but I am a medium.
Okay, and we're trying to talk Pete into coming to Olympic Strange Days, at least for a night. Camp out with us, get creepy in Beaver, Washington. That's coming up on the 9th and 12th. So pressure him in the comments section. Why aren't you doing that? Because he can do it at any time. Okay, Mary, you're next. Come on over here. Now, you guys are old friends. Get in there, Pete, because you may want to bounce off of her.
That's
so,
right. He's
I mean, you wouldn't really be here if it wasn't for Pete, right?
Pretty
No,
much. No,
I
wait a
think it's
minute.
the other way
Other way
around.
around? Okay.
I think it's the other way around.
Yeah.
I just mean it's like allowed in the house. You have the key.
Yeah.
I do have.
Okay.
He has the key. So anyway, our team, Olympic Peninsula Paranormal Society, we've been together since 2009, and I'm one of the original co-founders. But Pete came along and joined our team, and you were on the team for about a year or so, weren't you?
A couple of years.
Yeah, a couple of years, yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
So I think that was about the time you were really developing your psychic skills as well. So we've been paranormal buds. This is my paranormal brother right here.
Pete, what's your sense of what's going on here this morning? Do you have a sense, usually mornings, there's not much going on here as far as research, is that correct?
That doesn't really have a factor here. It could be any time. We were just discussing before, or as you're arriving, that there's kind of a vibe in the air today of anticipation. I don't know, I'm definitely feel an overall raise in energy, I guess.
Okay.
There's definitely a vibe going on. I don't know what it is yet, but definitely feeling something.
Okay.
And it's not my breakfast.
Linda, can we come to you? Let's grab a seat here next to Linda. Okay, tell people about yourself.
I'm one of the team members for O.P.P.S. I actually met them, probably 5 years ago. So Pete, is there a George connected to here?
I'm not quite sure.
When you say something.
There could be over the years, yeah. I mean, I don't know specifically.
Well, he's asking about his shoes.
Really?
What was he asking?
He wants to know where you got your shoes.
Thanks, George. Well,
The name has come up, I think, on an investigation before here, but I can't think of anybody like historically off the top of my head.
You know who it might be? It might be the guy I saw when I was standing in front of the mirror. This guy walked behind me and I said, well, who are you? And he did give me the name George, but it was a long time ago, and he looked like someone that worked here, like would come in and take care of the place, and then,
Well, he's been watching you since you came in, and so I was like, what's about the shoes? And that's when I got the name.
so these are, George, these are old Flightline boots that I wore for you because I thought that they would bring back maybe some memories of leather sole wear and tear.
Yeah.
Those shows last.
They make a sound.
Yes, absolutely. I was on the flight line for 20 years.
Oh, well then you should recognize them. What are we?
I did.
I had my audio on. I put my audio there, so hopefully I caught it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
They always talk. They always talk to me here. I mean, I always get something.
We should ask Mary's favorite question to ask.
Which one?
Doing audio. So who's here?
Yeah, I do. I like doing that.
Anybody here? That's the best question, though.
It is, yeah.
To ask. It's so simple, and you don't think about it.
Mm-hmm.
But how many responses do you get?
Did you hear that? I heard it. I'm hearing, I'm really clairaudient. I hear stuff. Sounds like I'm crazy. Well, maybe I am. I don't know. But I just heard a little girl's voice up there. Or a female voice. I don't know if it was a little girl, but a young voice.
So, Tobe, I've learned to trust Mary when she says she hears something, because it almost always shows up on audio files.
Yeah, it pretty much.
Eagle ears.
Eagle ears. Is
When
what
it's
it is.
like this, Pete, this hot and heavy, is it hard for you to leave? I mean, how do you not do this all day? How do you get used to this adrenaline rush?
I'm used to it, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just used. I live with it, so.
Yeah.
I live here in town, so I'm used to living with it. Come on down. Can you come down the stairs? It's okay. You should know us. We've all been here before. Some of us many times.
Yeah.
Feel free to come down and hang out.
We're here alone. This is a big deal.
Yeah, it is.
How
Cool.
often have you guys ghost hunted here
Oh, my God.
by yourselves?
Oh, it's been, quite a bit.
Okay.
Actually, yeah.
But Pete doesn't just trust anybody.
No.
Yeah.
We pretty much can come in anytime we want.
Linda was commenting on my boots earlier with a guy named George who's with us. Is he still with us?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I was watching you when you were talking to Pete, and it was interesting because from the waist down, you turned translucent. It was like half of you was you and half of you was maybe George.
Oh. That's
Yeah, it was pretty
Okay.
weird. You could have went right through you.
Now, can you come with us if we go upstairs?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I just have to take my cane
Um,
with us.
Let's go ahead and come up there, Mary. I'm going to hand this to you.
All right.
I did bring a couple little gizmos here. It looks like
Okay.
you brought your recorder,
Audio, I'll bring that too, yeah.
and I have a recorder going with headphones in it. And then, I don't know, I've never really had any luck with my meter. Do you guys get success at all?
No, maybe she does. I don't connect with it at all.
You don't have any cell phones on you. Sometimes they're not bad.
Jill, I think you recognize this, don't you? I think this is actually your meter here. So I'll put a big J on it and get it back to you. And then we have night vision. So why don't you ladies give us the tour here, and I'm just going to
All
follow
right.
you around.
Okay.
Follow her, because I'm
Okay.
going to be slow.
She's, okay, so we are going upstairs. That's where the master bedroom is, and it's supposed to be a child's bedroom, but I don't know if it is or not up there, so who knows. But it's active up here. We've had, you've spent the night here with us, but you didn't have any activity, did you?
Not that I know of.
Yeah. You got to sleep with the bats.
But this was the floor where we all heard something.
Yeah, this is where I've been hearing stuff since we got here. So it really almost feels like they're kind of hanging out here, kind of like checking us out, you know?
Is
And
it-
they do that a lot, I think.
Is this kind of a common meeting room area, this hallway?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it is, yeah. And then they have, we've caught some really interesting evidence here. We've got a video of one of the times we've spent the night here a bunch, and one of the nights the bed, you could see something sitting on the bed. They had a blow-up bed. One of the investigators was sound asleep, and she felt it. You can feel it push down on the bed, and we caught it on video, and it comes back up. It was pretty cool.
That happened to me in that
Oh, that
room.
happened to you too, yeah.
Yeah, and I heard the name Anna, and then my bed went down, and we actually caught it on video downstairs.
So the last time we were here, somebody had one of those DR60s, and they got a male voice out of here that sounded kind of grumpy.
Oh, the grumpy guy.
Yeah, be careful.
Oh, the grumpy guy is alive and well. We had a group of 8 young ladies, and in the group was my daughter, and we were giving him a tour of the investigation. And Ashley, follow me. We went around here so that we could go upstairs, because upstairs is where the children normally hang out. Well, this door, I was standing at that door as they were coming downstairs so that I could make sure that nobody fell or anything like that. So the door is wide open, and I have my hand on the door. And I made the comment, okay, go around the corner. We're going to meet Grumpy George. And about that time, this door slammed shut out of my hand.
Wow.
It slammed so hard that the doorknob actually fell off.
Okay,
So
did you
we
say...
do not call the grumpy
Did
guy.
you say George?
You said Grumpy George. I don't, he's never had a name before. So.
I don't think so either. That was not totally intentional.
Okay.
This is a cool room too.
So talk to me about this room here. What do we...
Now, this is actually, before I gave him the name, this is the room that I usually associated with the grumpy guy.
Yeah.
And more than one occasion, I was like standing over here at nighttime during investigations, and I would hear a grumpy voice like, "Get out!"
Yeah.
And we would actually capture it.
Oh yeah.
That's the
On-
voice I
yeah.
heard. It was
Yeah.
very
Correct.
raspy.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I got the grumpy guy thing. But yeah, it was like, "Get out!"
Yeah.
Very clear.
Okay.
And this is considered the master bedroom, I think. That's what
so.
everybody says. I don't know if it's true or not. But there's, I mean, every room in this place has activity. Every room.
I mean, just look at the decor. This is
I know.
out of central casting for
Yeah.
a haunted house.
Yeah, it's a fantastic place. I love it.
Are there any stories about a wayward woman that maybe lost her man and committed suicide or anything
Do you
like
know
that?
any? I
here?
don't know of any of those for here.
Okay.
No,
Never heard anything
no.
like that.
Most of the things we've heard have been like the Walker-Ames who've lived in this house, the kids that supposedly play in the attic. But I have a video I caught. Oh, this is so cool. I should play it for you later. I've got the trap cam on upstairs, and you can see one of our investigators walk by the camera, and then you hear these little kids laughing their ass off. These little kids giggling, giggle, giggle, giggle. So cool. So yeah, so that, and then. And then we have some history across the street with the doctor's house, you know.
Oh, the doctor.
Yeah, the doctor's house
Is
over
that
there.
visible through this?
Yeah.
Why don't you show me what
Yeah,
you mean?
I'll show you. And I think, yeah, it's that place right there.
So this is an antique store now, but
Yeah.
this at one time.
Yeah, it was one time the doctor's house. We got a really cool EVP here one day. It was a ghost box session, and we were trying to figure, we heard this coughing, and I said, well, are you sick? Are you sick? And he kept talking about blood lung, which is what they used to call TB. So I don't know who that person was, but evidently it was somebody who had, you know, TB was probably pretty prevalent back then, so, yeah.
What are you getting off of this room, Linda? Anything?
Pretty quiet. No, it's pretty quiet right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Between these two rooms is a different space to the left. Can someone talk to me about this space over here and what it's known for?
The only thing I know about it is it's been off limits ever since I've been a part of the investigation years. You'd have to talk to Pete in detail. It's some energy that lives in there that does not want to be bothered. And so in respect, he has blocked it off and doesn't allow anybody to go in there or work around it at all.
Yeah, I've also heard that they have, that's a place for the spirits, a safe place for the spirits to go, like if they don't want to be bothered. I don't know if that's true or not.
And we're talking right here?
Yeah.
Can we take a peek?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I never go in there. I don't want to, you know.
Now, I thought I remember hearing something about the floorboard and there being...
footsteps.
There were footsteps, that's right, like,
Yeah, they were in the dust. Nobody had been around here when there were footsteps
Yeah.
leading into there.
right in here.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
somewhere
somebody,
like right in
they
there.
got disturbed,
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
according to Pete.
Yeah.
Okay. We don't know who did that.
no.
We better
Okay.
not find out either. No, I'm just kidding.
I know, right? I'm going to follow you, Mary.
Okay. I would totally live in this house. So many people are like, oh, I couldn't live here, it's so haunted. I would have to fix it up.
Would you?
Yeah, oh, yeah,
Yeah.
no, I have to be comfortable.
Because taking a bath in there may be super scary.
No, it's got to be easy.
Okay.
But I love this place. I mean, I don't know what it is. It's
What has
just-
happened in this room before?
There's been all kind of weird reports of people dying in bathtubs and, I mean, people have come in here and said, oh, there's somebody dead in the bathtub, you know, but I've never You know, I can't find any history on that, and it's kind of hard. It's just like they talk about the basement. There's supposed to have been a little boy in the basement a disabled kid that they kept locked down there, but there's no actual documented history on it, so.
Yeah, me either. I've never really felt anything in this room.
Yeah. Now, this room here is interesting because there's a fair amount of activity in this room. There's always a guy and it looks like a spirit that kind of comes and looks out the door, like watches people. Yeah, they've actually caught photos of this person. Yeah. Like he'll come out and they'll do this. He'll kind of be like, they'll be doing one of those. And people have caught photos of this person.
Anybody on O.P.P.S?
We have not caught any photos, have we? I don't think we have.
Not to my knowledge.
Not that I know of all the years, because we've been coming here 15 years.
What am I looking at here? Do we have any idea?
I have no idea what that
Is
is.
this
I don't know either.
a separate,
That's new.
would this be something a paranormal researcher would do?
That,
to
that
see
could
if
be, yeah.
Wind?
Yeah.
If they start moving and you know there's nothing going on, there's no fans and no furnace.
It's
Yeah.
just a taped up
Movement.
aluminum foil
Yeah.
with painter's tape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Explain what you just did there, Linda.
All right, so in the corner there was a little white ball. So what we use sometimes is we call trigger objects. And we'll put something in the center of a room or in a doorway or whatever. And then we'll all try to get very still and quiet. And we'll ask the spirits if they'll move something for us. We could probably pretty much guarantee that if it does move around for us, it's not the wind.
Come on, Anna. If you're here.
Hey, George, if you follow
there you
the
go.
Tobe around because of the shoes, maybe you'll move that ball for him. All the investigations that you do, say we do 100 investigations, you can only guarantee maybe 5 to 10% of those investigations are we actually ever going to get anything as cool as having that ball move. So the key here is patience.
Tell people what that is.
A Mary thing is when you, at midnight, you stand in front of a mirror, excuse me, and you say, I can't remember the whole thing. Mary,
no.
it's Mary something. And supposedly you're supposed to see spirits or ghosts. For me, my face totally changed. I don't know who the hell was in that mirror, but it wasn't me. Scared, I left the bathroom. I was doing it in the bathroom. I was like, I won't
So
do
why
it.
do mirrors have power? What is it about mirrors? Because they are kind of creepy.
I'd have to research it again.
What do you think? I don't know. Do you think there's some inherent thing in the reflective image?
Either I have the ability to totally change how I look, or there's somebody in there with me.
Okay, so what are we doing here, Mary?
Okay, so what we're going to do is.
I'll hold that for
Yeah,
you.
it's called an EVP circle, and what we do is we just stand around in a circle, we hold hands. But someone picks one question, and everybody asks the same question. So like I'll say, is there anybody here? And then wait like 5-10 seconds, and then squeeze the person's hand, and then they say the same thing. And then the next person says the same thing.
Okay.
And then we go and then we listen to the audio and see if we catch anything. And we usually catch something, it seems
Yeah,
like.
usually we'll get
Good
something.
success rate?
Yeah, pretty
And
good.
you're working with what here? Just a little digital recorder?
Olympus, yeah.
Okay.
Works great.
Or we'll put it like this.
There you go.
Okay, here goes nothing.
Okay. So, does anybody have a question they want to ask in particular?
You're new. You got a question?
Do you have a question you
the
would
house?
ask the house?
Okay. How many are with us?
Okay, go for it.
How many are with us?
How many are with us?
How many are with us? Now, let's try one more question.
Okay.
Okay.
Is George here today?
Is George here today?
Is George here today?
Okay, let's see if we got anything.
Okay.
So, does anybody have a question in particular?
You're new. You have a question?
Do you have a
about
question you
the
would
house?
ask the house?
Okay. George here today?
Is George here today?
Is George here today?
Okay, let's see if we got anything. I didn't hear anything, so we may not have gotten anything.
So how many typical sessions do you do?
With this, it just depends on the size of the group, and we've done like up to four or five questions before.
But this could go on all night.
Yeah,
like
you can do
guys,
it. You can do it. Yeah, you can do it. And we've gotten stuff. Says anybody want to talk to us? And we got this person saying, "I do." We don't.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody in the house. We don't know who it was. We didn't ask for a name. So.
Can we do one more?
Yeah,
Let's
sure.
do one more. And can I put a trigger object
Yeah.
in between us?
On the chair too, so
Okay.
that way it's a little bit get better audio. Okay. So you want to put your
I'm
hat
gonna set
there?
it right here.
There you go. Cool. Okay.
Just set that right.
Cool. There we go.
Okay, cool. We're ready.
All right.
All right, you want to start us off,
Yeah.
Mary?
George, do you like Tobe's shoes?
George, do you like my shoes?
George, do you like Tobe's shoes?
Okay. Any other questions?
Is there anybody here that would like to talk to us?
Is there anybody here that'd like to talk to us?
Is there anybody here that would like to talk to us?
You want to put your hat there? There you go. George, do you like Tobe's shoes?
George, do you like my shoes? George, do you like Tobe's shoes?
Okay. Any other questions?
Is there anybody here that would like to talk to us?
Is there anybody here that'd like to talk to us?
Okay.
I heard something right after you asked the question
Which question?
about your shoes.
Something real faint.
Yeah, so I'll take this home and put it on
Enhance it?
Audacity and see if I get anything. If I do, I'll just send you
Okay.
the clip. I'll send you the Audacity.
And explain why some of these voices sound as though they're struggling to
Come
breathe.
through?
They're breathy.
Yeah.
What is that? What's your speculation on why they're so breathy?
I think what I figured is that part of it has to do with energy,
Mm-hmm.
because it takes a lot of energy, I think, to really put that forward. So I think here they're used to doing that, and there's they've kind of developed a way to communicate. After my husband passed away, he came through. It was like a couple days, and he was really struggling as that breathy Mary, I'm here, that kind of thing. But now when I hear from him, he sounds like us. I mean, so I think it's a matter of practice, really, and energy. I think that's a lot of it. Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Very rarely do you hear them super clear. Very rarely.
Very rarely. Well,
I
yeah.
do.
Some.
I do. I'm sorry. I do. I just, that is my thing. I get really good audio, like pretty much.
Because
all the
whatever
time.
ladies were upstairs last time I was here,
Mm-hmm.
they were very clear and they were very gossipy.
Mm-hmm.
It sounded like you two
Just
upstairs
talking.
just
Yeah.
talking,
Wow. Yeah.
but far away.
Mm-hmm.
And so often it seems to be kind of far away sounding.
Yeah. And it's interesting when you come here to talk to them. You know, they really do communicate with you. You know, you'll ask them all kind of questions, and they'll answer you. Like I used to bring my dog Eulalie here. She was part of our team. She was a huge, 150-pound, huge dog. They knew her name. And I would ask Mrs. Ames. I said, Mrs. Ames, how do you feel about dogs in your house? She goes, I don't like dogs.
In my house.
In my house, pretty much.
yeah,
Yeah, she said,
yeah.
I don't. And they would, like I said, can you say Eulalie? It was an unusual name for a dog.
Yeah.
And the kids would say her name. And I've had voices say, it's hard. I said, yeah, I know it's hard, to go ahead and try it, and they would try it, so, yeah.
Wow.
And I think we also have a communication with the spirits here, with the energy here. I think that makes a difference.
Okay.
This is the video from upstairs.
Yes.
You're gonna hear her walking. Just wait. After that, those are the kids upstairs.
Can you tilt that sideways so it's bigger? How do you ignore that? I mean, skeptics, come on. We have to talk about what happened to you.
Oh, yeah.
Because the world is waiting to hear, and I don't know how much you've heard of this story here, Linda, but tell them about the praying mantis.
Okay, so our team was at Wellington, and Wellington's up near Stevens Pass. It's called Iron Goat Trail, and that was a site of a major avalanche that killed like 100 people in 1910. So it's haunted. The whole area is haunted. So we did a big investigation down there, and we were camping. I think it's called Beckler Campground. We'd gotten back into our tents, and when we were coming in, we saw all these people. And I'm going to tell you this because it's part of the story. They were dancing naked around this big fire, which we don't care. Do what you want. Yeah. Anyway, so I get into my tent finally, and I'm laying down, and all of a sudden I hear this really strange, like somebody breathing really hard and running. I said, "What the hell?" So I go out of my tent. It's so bizarre, and I look, and there's a naked man running from a 10-foot. The only way I can describe it was a praying mantis. I mean, it looked like a praying mantis. It had the body, the long body, had the hands, or not the hands, but whatever those things are called. I don't know what they're called. Had the same kind of head, kind of the same face, you know, the structure of the face. And it was chasing this man. You know, when I first saw it, I was like, I mean, I was stunned. I thought I was seeing somebody in a big puppet, but I thought, a puppeteer can't run that fast. You know, this guy was running fast, and this thing was like right behind it. And they just took off, and I went back in my tent and just laid there for about an hour going, what the hell was that? So yeah, that was really, yeah. To this day, I have not seen it again. And I've read a lot of stuff about the praying mantis aliens, and honestly, I hope I never see it again, I'll be honest with you. Yeah.
Wow, is that something that was clear enough to where you could sketch it, kind of deal? Like
Yeah.
you remember
Definitely.
details?
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah.
How tall was
It
this
was
thing?
at least 10 feet. At least 10 feet. I would say minimum 10 feet. And it was green.
So,
and,
but now we're talking about an elaborate puppet or an elaborate
Well,
costume,
yeah.
not like something
yeah,
from
and
party store.
Yeah, no, and there are people that do these kind of big puppets, but the movement wasn't puppet-like. It was hauling butt. I mean, I'm telling you, it was like moving fast. And so was the guy in front of it. And it just didn't seem, I've seen big puppets in action before, and this definitely it was very smooth, the way the arms were moving, or the arms, whatever they're called, and the way just the whole body moved. It wasn't disjointed at all. It was very a smooth kind of movement, so, yeah.
And what became of that situation?
You know what? I don't know. But the next day, that night, I didn't go out and look because it freaked me out. It did. It freaked me out. I'm going to be honest. So I went out the next day and went kind of checking around the area to see if anything looked unusual. I went back to that campsite where the naked people had been dancing and everybody was gone. But, I kind of walked around and said, hey, did you guys just asking people, hey, did you hear anything or see anything weird last night? And everybody was like, no, so, yeah.
Well, Walker-Ames, to be continued. Thank you so much, Linda and Mary, for doing this.
Welcome.
All right, ladies, I'll clean up my stuff here, and then we'll let Pete know it's time to lock it up.
Yeah.
Oh, hey. So the record skipping sound, what's that all about? Well, that's your cue that there's going to be an Easter egg. Not every time, but in the case of the praying mantis story that Mary just talked about, yeah. What if I told you that shortly before I interviewed her, I wandered into a couple of gals that also, one of them in particular, had a praying mantis story of her own. So this is one of those moments, and now you know what to listen for.
Okay, so you were a server?
server.
And you had a random guy say what?
Yeah, so there was this elderly couple, and I was serving for them for a while, and then we're just talking about life and everything, and he wanted to tell me, he's like, I want to tell you this story, but I'm scared of your reaction. And I'm like, you can tell me anything, I'm pretty chill. And he was telling me that he was in the military, I don't remember what branch, but he was in special ops in the military, and that there was this whole extraterrestrial, a huge group of praying mantises that they were, I think, tasked to like take out because they had maybe gotten too smart or too aware.
They got out of their jar.
Yeah, and so they were tasked to like take him out, and that he told me that one of them was the spirit of his grandpa and was like speaking to him telepathically.
What the heck?
This praying
You've
mantis.
never heard this story, and
No,
you guys are.
you never told me this story.
Yeah, so there's this praying mantis, and they're all extraterrestrials. He said they were extraterrestrials, and they're all praying mantises, and that one had the spirit of his grandfather, and his grandfather was communicating with him telepathically from this praying mantis and telling him like all these truths and things. And it was pretty nuts. And
So you're like there with fish and chips, like
Yeah.
listening to this, like,
I feel like I got 6 more tables,
Yeah.
but what?
the conviction in his voice and just his overall demeanor, like you could tell like he was speaking 100% his truth. Like it wasn't just a story. Like,
do you have any idea why he would tell you that? Like, was it to test a random person, or why? What was the confessional about?
Was it your
'Cause-
first time serving that table?
it was my first time serving him, and it had been, I would think it was like 30 to 40 minutes into their meal, and we had
Okay.
just like, every time I walked by, we would just like chit chat, and like I get pretty philosophical with my customers and everything.
Okay.
We were just
So
talking about
he just felt like, he's like, I just want to tell you, he just felt on his heart to tell me for some reason. I don't
That's
know why.
incredible.
Yeah, and it just stuck with me ever since, because I'm like, I totally believed him, because he just, the way he said it,
I mean, seeing a praying mantis
Yeah.
would be way scarier than seeing.
and he
a
said they
Bigfoot
were
for me.
huge.
For me too.
Yeah, they were these huge praying mantises, and one was
thanks.
communicating with him telepathically because it
Did
was
he
his
describe them
grandpa.
at all in any detail, or did he just say praying mantis?
He just said a praying
Okay.
mantis and that they were large.